here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Shen in the top lane. We're going to grab those.
Press on.
Okay, let's go over to the red buff and let's go over our lane matchups. We have I'm Shen top against, I believe, Riven. We have Karthus mid against Kennen, but those two could go the other way around. We have Braum partner with Lucian bot against Varus and Nami, and we have Master Yi in the jungle against Skarner. Not really a fan of Skarner in the Season 5 jungle. He might, he doesn't have a good, jungle item. The Stalker's is good because of the slow, but the Warrior is no Elder Lizard. The Armor, I think he does mostly magic damage, which is why I say the Armor Pen is not very helpful for him.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Okay, let's think. Does he want me to go over to the golems? That is what I'm trying to figure out. I can Q the golems, leaving the Vorpal Blade there. That will heal him if he attacks them.
There is no
But anyway, passive is Key Strike. Every 9 seconds, your next auto attack heals you, or no, does bonus damage scaling off health and restores a little bit of energy. Q is Vorpal Blade. Targeted ability, you deal magic damage, mark the target whenever the marked target is damaged. I didn't know spells worked on it too, but that heals whoever is doing the attacking. W is Feint. Shield yourself, absorbs the next attack. Well, you absorb some damage. This also will get the cooldown on your passive up more often. E is Shadow Dash. Dash through a target. Taunt them. You take reduced damage for them. Good stuff. And that should be enough to get him by. I can't really afford to wait too much because if I fall behind Riven in levels, if I don't get my W by the time she gets her level 2, this could be very bad.
Our wills align.
No! Wondering if I should start taking attack damage reds on Shen so I can last hit better.
An ally has been slain. First blood.
Understood. So I go.
So far I've forced one potion out of her.
Tread carefully.
I'm going to take the E even though the Q would help more with the poke, simply because I may need to get away from a gank.
Immediately. With honor.
And if I had Ignite, I could have killed her there.
Sound.
Can almost kill her.
Our wills align.
So I think she wanted me to miss the cannon by using her key strike. She pulled minion aggro. And we just gotta keep her on her heels.
An enemy has been slain.
Hope the other lanes don't mess up too bad.
An ally has been slain.
There is no dispute. Press on. I find them unworthy.
Damn.
Target marked. Enforced equilibrium. Without steps.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Okay, I don't know what he has for a jungle item, but... taking way too much damage here.
Shadows.
Riven could have ignited me there for the kill.
Target marked. It must be done.
Okay, I can't afford to botch the cannon minion.
Understood.
Okay, from this point forward I'm doing this post-game commentary. You may have heard the doorbell ring, and that's when my brother decided to show up and not shut up for the rest of the game. But anyway, Riven is going to spend most of her time hiding in the brush since I managed to kind of intimidate her with the early aggression. Skarner, I don't think he's that good right now. And he can't really take advantage of my aggression. Sadly, Riven with her million dashes, I'm probably never going to be able to reliably land a shadow dash against her, as you can see right there. So my main goal is to just try to poke her down with my Vorpal Blade, last hit with my auto. Sadly, since I'm not running any form of AD, it's just the autos are sometimes hard to do. And of course, unlike me, where I at least have energy as a resource, she's just cooldown gated, so the stuns and everything else are just going to come out whenever they're up. Then again, these are the people who thought reworked Veigar was balanced, so go figure. So right there I got Kennen, and that's pretty much a taste of what's going to come for the rest of this game. So, to spoil things for you, Karthus is going to feed extremely hard. Pretty much to the point where he's a non-factor entirely. This is kind of offset by the enemy Varus feeding, and eventually he's going to rage quit another thing Riot said, oh yeah, we took care of that. We kind of filter these things now. Yeah, I think you guys saw Kale, so... just one more lie that they're saying these days. But anyway, Varus is going to take off, but Kennen is going to be so fed that he's the problem. And right here, I didn't actually realize, well, I didn't have any idea how bad things were going to get for Varus. Had I known, I actually would have went for Burn Treads instead of the Ninja Tabby that I'm going for, because then I have to worry about the Riven stun, the Kennen stun, Skarner suppression, because Skarner's slow. But it's one of those things, the hindsight 2020 crap. Had Riven not kind of arrived late and Varus not royally screwed up, this would be a different game entirely. Instead of it being the physical-oriented game I was expecting, it's now a magic-oriented game. Anyway, my goal for Shen is to try to do the split-pushing monster, which isn't an option because my team's going to die whenever I'm not around. So right here, I am waiting. Let's see, the Giant's Belt is 600. Yeah, Giant's Belt is not on the first page, which is a bit weird. But I have enough gold for the boots, the Giant's Belt, and I don't have teleport back up to actually just warp to a turret. Luckily, I was able to keep Riven off of it long enough early on that there wasn't a lot of damage dealt to it yet. And Riven also went for a Hex Drinker. There you go, you can see it now. So the Hex Drinker is a bit of a weird pickup. It's true that it's going to mitigate my Vorpal Blade damage since it's magic damage, and then the Sunfire Cape that I get is also magic damage. So it's a good pickup in that regard, especially since it pretty much removes any potential of me killing her. That Spell Shield, or whatever you wish to think of the shield, the lifeline that comes up whenever you knock her hit points down low enough, means I'm not going to be killing her unless it's in a team fight. So the laning phase is kind of over. At this point it's just a farm fest, and can I impact more lanes than her just by pushing? Sadly, she is going to take the tower once I roam to other lanes, but for the time being, it's just a farm fest. All in all, I consider that a win because Riven is normally all about kill pressure, and since I'm not dying to her, she's not going to be able to snowball out of control and become an issue for my team like Kennen is. So right there, she ulted, she flashed, he is arriving for my assistance, and right there I threw the Vorpal Blade to pop Skarner's exoskeleton. The reason for that is that takes out his movement speed. Sadly, the line of sight there caused me not to kill the Vorpal Blade. As a result, I had to take the kill even though it's much better on E. So when you take out his exoskeleton, he loses his movement speed bonus, and we can catch him more easily. I don't have Ghost to burn at the moment. And right here I did taunt Riven, and I need Yi to deliver the coup de grace. So right there he does so, but Kennen arrives to take care of him. And Riven burned her Ignite on me for some reason, even though I guess she didn't realize that I can take some turret shots. As for Kennen, this is going to be my first skirmish with him, and this is going to be what defines the entire game, sadly. So you can see that we have the means to really hammer one another. His ult is down, and sadly he has more range with his Thundering Shuriken than I do with the Vorpal Blade, so I have no reason to stick around. Plus I have teleport, so I can go ahead, pick up some items, then come back. Due to how Karthus has been feeding, he has the item advantage over me. The Sunfire Cape isn't going to help too much, sadly, but it's something. As for the Ward Trinket, I want to get the new one so I can try to help out with the whole vision control thing. Skarner has made a lot of trips top, which kind of makes this a necessity. Meanwhile, I can go ahead and warp back and do what I failed last scene with the Sunfire Cape, auto attacks, and Vorpal Blade. So this is one of those moments where I kind of wish you could turn the Sunfire Cape off because it messes with my last hits on returns. Right here I can warp in, stab Varus in the back with my Vorpal Blade, and right here I work with Braum to break the exoskeleton and proc the stun. Sadly, the concussive blows needs a bit more time to reset. Meanwhile, Ken shows up, Skarner uses Smite on me, the tank. And right here I was thinking, I was expecting this, that's why I went back in there. So Lucian gets the shutdown, and Braum jumped to me, but Ignite is true damage, he can't help.
An enemy has been slain.
But my key shield, my W, that's just like artificial health, that will mitigate the Ignite. So we got Kennen down, that's going to help Lucian snowball, and as a result, we'll have some pressure or some damage sources when the inevitable team fights start. So right there, Riven got the turret because I had to warp down to win us the team fight. And then Karthus dropping the Requiem really solidified the win, otherwise we just have to settle for picking off the really malnourished Varus. Meanwhile, it's not a bad thing to have the wave this far up. Just allows me to farm more safely, and when I don't have the whole turret shooting down on them, I can last hit them more reliably. So right there, the dragon went down, notifying my team that Riven is gone, but she's running Ignite, not Teleport, so she doesn't have... I'd say she doesn't even have a tenth of the global pressure I do with both Stand United and Teleport. So meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and pick this off for some extra gold. He is on the other side of the map, so it's not going to really matter to him. And then I can just jump back in and try to last hit here. So I'm going to be doing a slightly different build from the norm because I started out expecting problems with AD. As you can see, Sunfire first, Ninja Tabby, and instead I'm going to have to change gears to go for the MR route. Due to Kennen's Lightning Rush, I need to try to peel for my team, and there are 3 items that I'm able to use to do so. The first of which is the Bilgewater Cutlass Blade of the Rune King. I consider those one item since one is the component of the other. That allows me to do an active slow onto Kennen to stop him from rushing into the team. Number 2 is the Rhyolite Crystal Scepter. It gives me HP, always good. It gives me AP, so that increases my damage and my shields.
There is no dispute.
And it also gives the slow effect, so if I can land my Vorpal Blade or Shadow Dash on Kennen, then he will be slowed, and it'll be a little more difficult for him to get into the team fight. And the final item is the Frozen Mallet. That gives me health, AD, and my auto attacks will proc a slow effect on the enemy. I was thinking I was going to build that this game just from how I was picturing the lanes to play out ahead of time, but it never came to be. The option that I go with is the Bilgewater Cutlass for now. The reason for that is more AD gives me better last hitting, more attack speed for faster pushing, and then it also increases my dueling potential. Shen is already a really nice duelist that just pushes me over the top. So sadly I warped in here way too late. I'm trying to break the teleport, but I don't really know how. So right there he flashed over me. And I pop Ghost to try to get him. Karthus drops his wall. He ends up being suppression for me. And Kennen goes into the Razor. So, Requiem. Yeah. All in all, I'd say we win that fight because once we take care of that, he's going to warp in here. That's going to give us a vulnerability on that minion, and we get to try to push this down as fast as possible. Alpha clears that out, Varus shows up, he's going to take a little while to damage him. And sadly, had I not backed away, we probably could have taken the turret right there, but I managed to. So yeah, the turret stands, and we have to deal with it at a later date. I wasn't really expecting them to go in. I didn't realize how much damage he actually did at this point. I don't remember offhand if he went Devourer or Warrior. If you pause on that screen, you can probably check, but I find it a little hard to tell the purple from the red on such a small picture. So I go ahead and pick up Distortion Boots so that I can Ghost and Teleport more often, and I have the bonus effects, the increased Ghost speed as well as the movement speed boost from the Teleport. I also grabbed the longsword, which is eventually going to become Bilgewater Cutlass. The game's going to end before I can build anything beyond that. So, giving my team a heads up on my ult, since we need to use our global advantage. Kennen has teleport, unlike Riven, and the two of us can fight kind of toe-to-toe once I get a little bit more MR. He's still going to be the major problem because he's the one that's getting all the kills, no one else. And to make things a little bit more annoying, Skarner is going tanky just like I am, so... Right there, I'm a little bit late to the party. We go ahead and warp in. Sadly, I did manage to Shadow Dash onto Kennen, but I still got Nami. Small consolation prize. So, right there, Skarner smited me. That doesn't actually do anything. I wanted Kennen, but I have to take my consolation prize of Varus. And right there, I ran out of energy. So one of the things that I didn't actually get the chance to talk about, I take the turret while Lucian does whatever. Shen did receive a buff since the last time I played him. Shadow Dash had its energy cost reduced from 120 to 100, otherwise everything else is still the same. So it costs half your energy to Shadow Dash, and you still get a refund if you successfully land it. Something like 40 per person, I believe. So I go ahead and grab the Kindle Gem, and I realize I have enough to get the Vamp Scepter, so let's go ahead and grab that. They'll help me trade. Sadly, for that last exchange, I had to sacrifice Teleport for Stand United, but I have the reduced cooldown now, so not the end of the world. And the Kindle Gem that I just picked up is going to give me 10% CDR towards my various cooldowns. So Stand United is going down from its approximate 3-minute cooldown to shaves 18 seconds off of it, and I run a 5 extra, I believe. So 27 seconds down to about 2.5 minutes. I don't remember what the cooldown is at rank 2, but all in all, the key thing is just more teleports more often. And right here, we didn't have vision control, and as a result, all 5 show up. So I could have saved myself if I wanted to. Should have just cut and run. Good news is we're still going to pick up Skarner because he doesn't have the stats to withstand the Requiem. Now I know what he's maxing next, but Arthas does not have zones, so dead much. And I did manage to make any real gold on that trip to the top lane, so no new items, namely the Visage. The reason why I want the Visage is for the MR and the healing effect. It's also going to give me a little bit of extra health. Since Kennen has really cheap and easy poke with his Thundering Shuriken, his Q, I figured the Banshee Veil is a little bit worthless. And sadly, we're too late in the game for the Hex Drinker to actually matter for me, so I don't bother with that, even though that kind of would be an option. So right here we want to keep our dragon control up. As long as we can keep control here, eventually we'll win this due to time limits. Dragon died before I even arrived, but the important thing is we got it.
Press on.
Sadly, due to Lightning Rush, there's really no chance I'm going to catch Kennen, so I went for Nami instead, and we managed to force his flash. We also got Nami's flash. And right here we're trying to pincer Kennen, but I guess our Lucian wasn't on the same page. And right here is when the rest of my team cut and run. I thought I had help coming, but no. So as a result, I'm pretty much finished. Kennen has a Rylai's we didn't know, so I can't actually get even with the ghost, I'd have to have Murray Reds to have a chance of losing. Right there, Zocus came through for a Mitzi. So Lucian did kill him with a shutdown, and right here I'm trying to tell him to get the hell out of there because they're going to kill him if he sticks around. If he knows he's sticking around, so you want to take a guess what's going to happen. Look at the mini-map, you may get an idea right here. So right here I'm trying to figure out what I need to build next. And the important thing is trying to keep Kennen out of the team fights. Right there, Lucian died. So right there I'm telling my team that I have a little bit of MR to try to hold him off.
There is
And our success just comes to me landing that Shadow Dash. I have to taunt him before he has a chance to Zonias. That way we can blow him up if he wants to try to get into us, or I can at least take some time out of his slicing maelstrom where and pull him away from my team to just run out his ult, so he has less time, less damage. So I'm maxing the shield to try to mitigate just damage in general. Like I said earlier, the shield is basically artificial health. As long as you have the defensive stats to back it, like the MR, the armor release, some barricade, sound. And right here, I think I close. Let's see. Right there, I kind of want to pick up a weak guy instead of the ones that are bad right now. Headed down, and sadly, Riven and Skarner are going to work together to save her life. But I think it was the Sunfire Cave that actually killed him there. As much as I rag on the items at times, that time it did come in handy.
so I
If you're wondering why like, Shen is the only character I build Sunfire Cave on. If you're wondering why, Sunfire does magic damage, so as a result, the enemy building MR will mitigate its damage. So you have to level up to actually increase its damage. It's no longer flat. Even though damage is going up by something like 1 or 2 per level, due to how the enemy may itemize, it's actually going to get weaker as the game goes on. Though, if you read the description, you might think it's getting stronger. So if you're going to build it, you need some source of magic penetration or something to reduce the magic, the MR of the enemy. Otherwise, the item is just not that good. It just gets weaker and weaker as you go on, and it's so freaking expensive.
immediately.
So I have the Cutlass to inflict a slow, and now I want another slow to try to deal with Kennen, and that's where the Randuin's Omen comes in. That way, even if I miss him with a Shadow Dash, or he runs past me or flashes over me, I can pop the Omen to slow him down. And the nice thing about that is the slow on that scales off of my armor and MR. Since I'm building almost entirely tank, it's going to be a pretty hefty slow. So I built that trinket a while ago, and now I'm finally getting the chance to use it. Right here I was kind of hoping my team would group up, or maybe we'd get a lucky pick, but it's not going to happen, and Karthus is going to overextend a few more times. So Wall of Pain on Varus.
Our wills align.
Can't really see how things are playing out for him, but you can see he died, and I'm after Kennen Scar. I'm really starting to suspect Skarner's maxing his E2 based off the magnitude of that slow. And I really don't want to be here because I remember how this played out last time, where they kind of left me.
With balance.
So right here I threw the Vorpal Blade thinking, hey, Master Yi, go ahead and take this. If you have the Devour, extra stacks, and it'll heal you every time you hit it. So right there I actually picked up it's like a structure step. I went ahead and picked off Nami, pushing the other time. And as you can see, we managed to kind of block them out. Sadly, Riven is going to pick them off. Braum turned around for some reason. Result, he eats one more turret shot. And that puts Riven kind of back into the game, even though I successfully held her off for about 30 minutes. So I'm the only guy up with the Baron buff now. I want to ideally deal some damage to the inhibitor turret. I don't have the attack speed on the from the Blade of the Ruined King yet to actually finish this off. And we're too early in the game for the death timers to actually be considerable. So I just take off. I'm gonna head to the dragon. The nice thing about getting the third one is the movement speed is going to help us with Kennen, since he has to run in. If we have more movement speed to just disengage, we can deal with the slicing maelstrom now. Just right here, I'm slowly whittling away. I'm not going to have health problems because of the healing of the Vorpal Blade as well as the lifesteal from Cutlass. Then factor in my healing from the Spear Visage. I'm pretty solid at that. Plus I can also use the Key Shield to mitigate some damage here and there. And I've been just realized I've been applying a Key Shield for all this time, even though the move I believe is called Feint. So right here I want to give it a final push, and the Baron buff has timed out. So I picked up a blue buff somewhere in that skirmish. I don't know who all died to give it to me, but key thing is I have it. And I now have over 2,000 gold, so I can go ahead and get the Randuin's Omen and have an extra slow to try to deal with Kennen. Of course it's going to be completely worthless for dealing with Riven, but it also helps with Skarner, so that's nice. And right there you got to see Karthus overextend.
Press on.
So Master Yi arrives for the defense. I'm here to back him up. And right there I got to Shadow Dash Kennen, but he got the Zonius up before Robin. The thing is, we still dealt with a lot of his damage. It's just Lucian came from this really rude way. So right here they have Riven's 1,000,001 dashes to even make sure that I can't Shadow Dash Ghost away. And we lose the tower. So right there, Karthus is starting to cost us the game. So even though at this moment Varus has taken off, Karthus is not really contributing. He's going to kind of redeem himself here, but we'll get to see him mess up in a completely different and innovative way. So there's his Zonias that he finally has. And hey, I'm starting to channel him right away when I have 100 points left. Smooth.
An ally has been slain.
Nice thing is he did get Kennen, so that's going to slow the Yordle down slightly. But at this point he's so fed it doesn't really matter. You can see his stats right there. He already has a Void Staff, which means I need another MR item to at least have a chance of withstanding his siege. Unlike me, Kennen's energy costs go down as he ranks up the moves, eventually becoming fairly cheap, kind of. Meanwhile, all of Shen's stuff costs the same the entire duration of the game. Not really complain though, because the Shadow Dash change was pretty huge, and the only way this game could have really been better for us would be if instead of Lucian we had an actual hyper carry like Kog'Maw, Triss, Twitch, Vayne, one of them. Nice thing about Vayne, of course, would be if Kennen tries to Lightning Rush in, he's just going to eat a Condemn and get knocked out. So right here I want to try to get some vision on the enemy jungle, but Kennen and Skarner are there, but I'm fast enough to get away from Kennen if he's unable to get his Rylai's going. So Yi is arriving to try to save me, but I was kind of hoping Kennen would come in here and we could jump him, but he doesn't.
Immediately.
So right here they decided, hey, well, they wanted to pick off Karthus. It's just unfortunately for them, I was here to intercept. And even though they did their little poke on me, I'm going to heal up fast enough to where it's not an issue. Right here, we don't really have any reason to try to siege. Even though they don't have a lot of wave clear beyond just Kennen, we can just go ahead and do other things. Namely, the Baron. So we're giving this lane one final push, and then we're going to make a dash for the Baron. Right here I was waiting the off chance we could actually catch someone. Karthus gets the Wall of Pain, but that's it. We don't actually successfully get anything. So I Shadow Dash the wall, the energy will recover as I walk. And by the time I get to the Baron, I'm able to use all my spells freely. So I go ahead and drop the purple blade so we stay at top health for this. Use my Feint to mitigate the damage, and as a result, they walk over. course, you notice I shadow dashed Ken, so I had to mitigate some of his damage. And as a result, their team just melts. As long as I'm able to keep Kennen out of the fight, victory is ours. Or at least slow him down so he can't damage key targets. So right here they're pointing out that Varus is finally gone, but if you've been paying attention to his level on the scoreboard, you can see when exactly he left. It's about 10 minutes ago. So Braum is pushing into the mid for us. He's basically applying his Baron buff to the minions while we go ahead and open up the top lane. And the game is almost over now. About 2 minutes left according to my clock. So Lucian goes ahead and clears the minions. I shadow dash just to close the gap. And he went ahead and took down one of the Nexus turrets. So Braum missed his Q. I don't remember what his Q is called. So right there, Skarner flashed, even though I think Ghost is a better spell. And we probably could have turned around. It would have been a little tricky without Karthus, especially since he does not have Requiem at the moment. But all in all, Braum manages to land his Q this time, and the three of us can start to recall. Meanwhile, Karthus is caught out of position once again. So I want to go ahead and clear this out before they push it, because this is the one lane without super minions. So by clearing out these minions, that's going to alleviate some of the pressure they can apply.
Enforced equilibrium.
And I go ahead and recall next to the turret just so I can get the shield while that's still in the game. So right here I have to make the decision, and I'd rather get the Abyssal Scepter, to be honest. Because going back to what I said about the Sunfire Cave, does magic damage. So by picking that up, the MR reduction on enemies means that I'll be dealing more damage with all my moves as well as the Sunfire Cave. And right here, Skarner decides to comply with us, and we kind of force him out. Sadly, Braum misses the ult. And we're in a bit of a bad spot, but I can shadow dash, and Skarner just clears me to safety. And the important thing is, they just burn their cooldowns. I dodged the Riven ult, the Kennen ult is down. And right here I Vorpal Blade Kennen, so Lucian can hit him and get held back. Sure, I do die, but I'm down below. And right here is the surrounding boat. So that was Shen. Any additional thoughts and observations be in the description.